The Mahayuti alliance in Maharashtra riding high on that landslide mandate. It has firmly reinstated itself in Maharashtra's power corridors. And Devendra Fadnavis is set to take oath as Chief Minister, and this for the third time now. The 5th of December is the date of oath taking. And perhaps we'll see Eknath, Shinde and Ajit Pawar swearing in as his Deputy Chief Ministers. There are reports coming through on this. But this formidable coalition has promised a future of economic resurgence in Maharashtra, infrastructural marvels to follow and policy stability as well, with the kind of mandate that the Mahayuti has got. But will this government deliver on all those promises they've made ahead of the elections? Let's delve into the political and the economic roadmap for Maharashtra now, which is a state pivotal to India's growth story. And joining us on this debate and discussion, our political commentator Rasheed Kidwai, who's also a visiting fellow at ORF. Political commentator Sanjeev Srivastava also with us, along with the Business Standards consulting editor Aditi Phadnis. Thank you all for making the time for this discussion. Great to have you all on the show. And right up front, Rasheed, the Mahayuti, now with this massive mandate, optically this stands for strong public confidence. But it has taken its time to zero in on the CM. Though the buzz was very strong that Devendra Fadnavis would be the man, but it has taken its time. Now with the BJP playing the central role in the coalition, do you think Devendra Fadnavis can manage the coalition partners, Eknath Shinde, Shiv Sena and Ajit Pawar's NCP? And do you see any coalition politics impacting governance efficiency in any way?
Thank you, Vikram. I think, it's been a case of day right, durust ayat. I mean, all is well that ends well. The whole sort of, this 11-day of suspense, I would say, was uncalled for in some ways. But return of Devendra Fadnavis is a very good news for Mahayuti, for Maharashtra, for BJP at national level and several fronts. I think, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis over the years has become a politician among politicians, one who's able to, manage many contradictions, man who's got ideas, man who can, attract investors, foreign investors, collaborations. Remember, Maharashtra was facing a lot of sort of competition from Gujarat, and there was political reasons. I would not want to get into it. So Maharashtra can get its place what it due to it. Now states like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, they all need to be little wary of Maharashtra. So Maharashtra has arrived. I think first few months are going to be a little testing time for Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, how to negotiate. Still, Mumbai Municipal Corporation elections are held where the Shiv Sena, Eknath Shinde group has, a lot of stake and a lot of credibility and a lot of presence. So Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, how he manages his allies, particularly Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena, I think that is going to be put on test. But if you look at the past, Mr. Fadnavis' own track record, the way he became Deputy Chief Minister under Eknath Shinde and worked his, he moved up in a sort of, that is why I'm saying he's a politician among politicians. So I think full marks to him. He has arrived, and there's one more thing that my friend Sanjeev and Aditi Phadnis may like to dwell upon. He has also arrived at national scene in sort of post Modi era as a contender. This is a sort of little far fetched, but he's also in line for the top job whenever 5 years, 10 years down the line. So all thumbs up for Mr. Devendra Fadnavis.
Aditi, do you agree with what Rasheed is saying, that this is a politician among politicians, and this is Devendra Fadnavis' time, and perhaps we'll see him play a much larger role in national politics?
Is that for me?
Aditi, yes, please.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear you. Yeah, frankly, before national politics, I think he has to set Maharashtra back in order.
Yes.
And I hope that he does not spend time asserting all this Hindu stuff. I hope he actually gets down to the ground running and actually does some governance, because frankly, that is what Maharashtra needs at this point. The BJP, Shiv Sena, Ajit Pawar have proved that they are masters of the game. All has been forgotten and forgiven for those 80-hour chief ministership tenure. And now people are really looking, they're thirsty for development. They are desperate for jobs. They need to have the infrastructure development, all the promises that the BJP has made in the past, all that needs to be realized now, and it's the time is now to act. It's not to think and not to pontificate.
Absolutely. So, Aditi, in that context, Maharashtra contributes more than 14% to India's GDP, notwithstanding the current FII outflows that we talk about day in and day out. But global investors are looking at India as an investment destination. To them, what specific economic measures, especially in sectors like EVs and fintech and pharma, would make Maharashtra that much more attractive, you think? I was looking at data between April and September this year. Maharashtra has attracted $5 billion in FDI. And that roughly means 25% of India's total FDI inflow in that period. We'll have to see how this government pushes up that number, wouldn't we, Aditi?
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's very important that more than anything else, that the ease of doing business is actually not more than just a promise and is actually translated on the ground. I am not saying this. The European Union companies are saying this in a survey that was done in July, where they said that they have put a halt on expansion plans in Maharashtra because the rental income that people demand on the ground is just so high that it's not worth doing business there. And many of these countries attract a lot of odium back in their countries if they pay bribes. So, I mean, this is a very, very serious matter, and Maharashtra needs a cleanup.
It is Devendra Fadnavis for a cleanup, Sanjeev. The coalition has made promises of transformative infrastructure projects. Mumbai's coastal road has been cited, the ambitious Nagpur-Mumbai Expressway. Do you think the Mahayuti government under Devendra Fadnavis can fast-track all the initiatives in the infrastructure world? Or do you think coalition dynamics could slow things down? It's a pivotal moment.
So what future has in hold, Vikram, is something which only the future will let us know. But like Rasheed was saying before me and before Aditi, that Devendra Fadnavis has certainly matured and blossomed over the last 10 years. He first became the Chief Minister towards the end of 2014 when assembly elections were held and the Shiv Sena BJP won a famous victory there on the back of 2014 win of Mr. Modi. And since then, Devendra Fadnavis has developed and built an image for himself. Now in Mumbai and Maharashtra, to be an honest, clean politician is not easy. But relatively, he's amongst the more clean and more honest politicians, and that's how he has built his reputation. He's also seen as a person who delivers on the ground. So his first tenure was a fairly good one. And the way he has managed himself, handled the deputy chief ministership, working under or supporting Shinde and being a comrade in arms with Ajit Pawar, that did good for him. And his famous couplet that, just don't write me off, the ocean will return, that very nice in the sort of 4 lines he came up with in one of the assembly sessions. All these speak well for him. He's also a man of the future. But like Aditi said, he first has to deliver this time in Maharashtra and take Maharashtra and Mumbai forward. So some key infrastructure projects have already been completed in the run-up to elections, like the coastal road and things like that. So Mumbai is looking better off than, say, it looked a year back. But that's only a job which is well begun. A lot more needs to be done. How to attract more investment, how to compete with Gujarat. I hope Delhi will allow Devendra Fadnavis and his government to breathe easy and not be constantly breathing down his neck. So how things will unfold, I'm sure there'll be no problem in coalition. Not in the near future, or because Ajit, the BJP numbers are very strong on their own. They get 132 seats, just a dozen short of a clear majority on their own. So, and with Ajit Pawar firmly backing and Shinde also is pragmatic and realistic enough, I think the government is going to continue unless barring the unforeseen or very dramatic. But the thing is how to make Maharashtra, like Aditi was saying, more easier for business, corruption-free in relative terms. Nothing can ever become corruption-free in India. So, and I think he's the man of the moment. If it would have been any other person other than Devendra Fadnavis, then we would be questioning why this or that. But I think most observers were unanimous in their opinion that at this particular time,
Yes.
he's the man for the job.
Yes.
And if he delivers well here, yes, he's the man of the future to watch out in BJP. But then there are a few claimants for
Oh, yes,
the man,
as there would
man
be.
of
Yes,
the job in
absolutely.
BJP.
Absolutely. But Rasheed, talking about coalition politics, the NCP faction led by Ajit Pawar, it has a stronghold over rural Maharashtra. We are talking about urban development projects, but how crucial will it be to balance rural development with all this urban infrastructure growth that we are talking about for this Mahayuti government if they have to go ahead and retain that voter base that they've garnered in this election?
Yeah, so I think, Vikram, this is a very pertinent issue. We all talk about, when we talk about economy and Maharashtra as a political journalist, we look at all those, mega projects and infrastructure development and all those things. But Maharashtra has a lot of other teething problems. You look at the, plight of farmers, and particularly in Vidarbha region and Western Maharashtra. So, and the kind of poll promises. You look at even this that Ladki Bahina Yojana, the amount of money that is going to drain is just colossal. Where is the money going to come from? I think there are a lot of question mark over it. So this double engine ki sarkar, that concept of double engine ki sarkar is actually very relevant for Maharashtra, whether it works or not, because here is a state which is very economic terms, very progressive, full of idea, full of potential, full of manpower. You name any aspect of it, it's there. So there is no, it's not like, Uttar Pradesh or some other state. So if Mr. Devendra Fadnavis is not able to turn it around in, let's say, a year or two, then obviously questions are going to be raised. And one big thing, if you recall, Vikram, during the election campaign, Uddhav Thackeray, Congress, and Mr. Sharad Pawar, all those people of Mahavikas Aghadi had made a big issue as if, Gujarat is prospering or thriving, getting a lot of foreign investment, domestic projects at the expense of Maharashtra. So Mr. Devendra Fadnavis has a task cut for him, because he has to dispel that kind of thing. Politically, of course, the MV has not been very successful in that, in establishing that. But now he has to do it through action, because there are a lot of reports are there. So he has to stand by Maharashtra, for Maharashtra, and in a way struggle with not only with Delhi, as well as, I mean, Delhi, the federal government, as well as Gujarat government. So these are the major challenges for him.
So absolutely, when you talk about Gujarat making Maharashtra great again, to borrow a phrase, perhaps is going to be one strong item in his agenda, Aditi, but also the question of unemployment. Now, it's a key challenge in Maharashtra. The figure is 4.8%. I was looking in November, while the national average is 7.1%. But rural unemployment is spiking in Maharashtra. It's more than 6% now. What role do you see this new government play in job creation? Maybe through manufacturing hubs, maybe through industrial clusters. Do you see Devendra Fadnavis taking that agenda point ahead?
Well, I think that's absolutely crucial. And one of the reasons why the BJP did so badly in the Lok Sabha election was because of unemployment. The Ladki Bahin scheme turned its fortunes around, on the back of the vote of the women. But I think this is something that he has to address immediately. There's no time to, sit on your thumb and wait and cogitate over what you're going to do. I'm pretty sure the BJP already has some plans in place. This is not something that has caught them unawares. And I only hope that they will work and put those schemes or plans in place sooner than later, because there's no time to be lost now.
Time is crucial. Sanjeev, with Devendra Fadnavis at the helm for the third time, what lessons do you think he's learned from his previous terms? How do you think he's going to try and avoid the pitfalls of any kind of political infighting just to ensure policy continuity? Because that's going to be crucial in the moment, isn't it?
I think Devendra Fadnavis need not learn any new lessons. That he's a learned student of politics and doing quite well. He established that during the last 5 years. First, how he was, how Uddhav Thackeray walked out of the alliance, and then how he bided for his turn, and then was happy to play, at least in public perception, the second fiddle, while Devendra Fadnavis continued to actually be as powerful, if not more, than the Chief Minister himself. during the Shinde-led government there. So I don't think the circumstances should support him. He should take now big, bold steps, and Delhi should back him for that. And I'm sure he would have ideas in mind, and he would be having better set of advisors than we on this panel here as to how to fast track Maharashtra's industrial growth. And while I do agree on the point of rural Maharashtra being equally important and the agrarian side of Maharashtra being equally important, I really don't see much of a challenge politically, because see, never say never in politics, and people make comebacks all the time.
Yes.
But the manner in which the Congress has capitulated,
Yes.
it was one of the biggest fortress for the party since till early 2000s, even when it was losing in other parts of northern and central India. And the way they have capitulated, and the smarting which Sharad Pawar and Uddhav Thackeray have received, I don't think they would, for quite some time, they would be licking their wounds.
Right.
So
it's going to be a long road to recovery for them.
Yeah, politically, decks are clear, and the runway is quite smooth for Fadnavis to take off.
Right.
Now, what steps he takes, how does he manage to
Exactly.
kickstart more development? Those are things that I'm sure he'll work out with his set of advisors.
Right, but he needs Delhi's backing, like you keep reiterating. Aditi, Maharashtra being at the forefront of GST collections, contributing more than 20,000 crore rupees in October alone. You think this Mahayuti government is going to leverage this financial strength to fund large-scale welfare schemes without jeopardizing fiscal stability? After all, they won the election because of what you mentioned. The Ladki Bahin scheme really helped them. Aditi.
In Maharashtra now, what you need is equity, and what you need is growth. You people have already voted for welfare and all that stuff. Now you need to have actual investment coming in, investment being translated in terms of jobs, and you need to have equity, which is very, very important given the unemployment situation. So it's not welfare that is necessary, it's growth, which will hopefully lead to equity. So, I mean, I don't know what he exactly is going to do and what the sequencing of this is going to be, but there is no doubt that people expect the government to govern and to act. They don't want people, just talking, as the last government did for a very large part of its tenure.
Right. Also, Rasheed, the Mahayuti's slogan, "Ek hai to safe hai," that's the one that resonated with voters. In fact, on my way to the studios today, I saw these electronic billboards with only the Prime Minister's face and this slogan writ large in saffron colors, only the Prime Minister's face. How do you see the slogan shaping the government's messaging in the next 5 years? You think the BJP is going to build on this?
Yeah, I'm glad, Vikram, you raised this point, because Aditi ji in her opening remarks had mentioned, made a passing reference. See, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis has to establish himself as a very good, able administrator, not only just in terms of, management of economy, financials, etc., but also the social fabric. So no matter who has voted, who has not voted, once he takes oath as chief minister, he will be a custodian for the constitution, and he has to ensure. So ek hai safe hai has to translate into a kind of age old thing, which this thing with keeping with the Indian civilization, that hum sab ek hai. So he has to carry all section of society with him. He's very much capable of doing so. But if he goes, sticks to a political agenda, then I see that there are going to be a lot of problems. So if there is any kind of, social unrest, then that would lead to unnecessary, problems, and that will act as a hindrance to, the growth story and this. So I think all eyes are on him in terms of how he conducts himself during elections. You may recall in several interviews, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis was very clear that he believes in a sort of unity of India and taking every section of society along. So I think there is a political difference between ek hai safe hai and hum sab ek hai. So it remains to be seen which way Mr. Devendra Fadnavis would go, but I think as the constitutional scheme of things demand, he will prove himself to be an able administrator.
Do you think this is going to be a pan-India slogan, Sanjeev? Ek hai to safe hai, and will it have to be extrapolated into what we are hearing right now as far as Rasheed's stance is, that unless you do that, we are going to be talking about it in terms of divisive politics as opposed to politics of unity?
See, this ek hai to safe hai, batenge to katenge, all these slogans are divisive in nature, we all know. But they are raised in the run-up to elections for electoral dividend. And once that electoral dividend has been secured and the government is in place for 5 years, I have little doubt that things will be very different going forward. In some other state where there will be election, you can again be sure that these slogans can be heard or these issues can be brought to fore. So BJP is a very pragmatic party in its own way. So where they have to score politically, they'll do something. And Devendra Fadnavis is even more pragmatic. He knows his job is cut out for the next 5 years to ensure that Maharashtra regains its rightful place in the development committee of the Indian state. So not allowing Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu or Telangana or Karnataka, if you may, to be really following, and of course Gujarat, to be breathing down his neck. So he would love to establish a clear lead for Maharashtra, which it already enjoys in if you take certain parameters into account. So all this is a thing of the past. These sloganeering.
Sure.
It's interesting to mention how Prime Minister Modi's image is there on all the hoardings today.
And only his image. There's no Devendra Fadnavis in that.
Which is very interesting,
right,
because very honestly, both in Haryana and Maharashtra, elections were fought on local issues, and with local leadership playing a big role.
Correct.
So I think Devendra Fadnavis or the local unit of BJP may just be playing safe, because it's always safe to keep just one picture of Mr. Modi on a hoarding.
Right.
And they allow Devendra Fadnavis and his team to really work and try and deliver the best for Maharashtra and for India. Also remember one thing, Vikram, all these things when we talk about different states, we cannot take them in isolation.
Right.
The central policies, central taxation measures, central initiatives will play a big role in the development of either a Maharashtra or a Gujarat or whichever state. So it's truly a double engine initiative in every sense.
Fair enough. So closing comments then. Aditi, to you first. As Maharashtra is gearing up, it's going to be a new chapter under the Mahayuti alliance. What do you see as the single most critical challenge that this government is facing in fulfilling the promises they've made, even as it tries to maintain this public trust after all that happened in the last 5 years when parties broke up and so much political drama unfolded?
Well, the best case scenario is that they put all that behind them and start work, because that is what is urgently needed. You need to have irrigation schemes, you need to have taps that actually deliver water, you need to have redevelopment of railway stations, ports, airports, etc., etc. You need to attract a lot more capital than Maharashtra has been attracting in the last couple of years. You need to re-establish Maharashtra as a place where it is not difficult to do business, it's easy to do business, and you don't have to pay for everything, including a revenue stamp. So I hope that he's on top of this whole pyramid of decisions that have to be taken, and he begins bottom down, so that he sends a message that come back to Maharashtra. It is open and it welcomes you.
So welcoming for investments, that's one strong takeaway. Sanjeev, what do you think is going to be top of the agenda, and what is going to be a challenge for Devendra Fadnavis?
See, I don't see this entire development as a big revolution. It's a new government which is being sworn in tomorrow, and it will be business as usual.
But with a massive mandate, Sanjeev.
Yeah, but what I will be keenly watching is that, and I'll be keenly watching, observing Devendra Fadnavis himself, whether the man whom so many people repose so much of faith, who see so much potential in him and so much future in him, whether he is able to deliver on that, whether he lives up to that promise, that will be very important both for Maharashtra and India. So I'll be keenly watching how Devendra Fadnavis unfolds in his 3.0 avatar.
Rasheed, what do you think? How is he going to up his game, and which is the biggest challenge he faces?
Yes, I think politics in India is very dynamic. It's not static and all. Nothing gets settled. So BMC elections are, of course, a big test for him. And the kind of things that happen, that acquisition and merger relating to the two Shiv Senas and the two NCP. So a lot depends upon how, I mean, if the BJP overplays its cards, and if Sena, there is some talk of any kind of merger in near future, this will give a platform for the opposition to bounce back. And remember, BMC elections may not be under the EVMs. If there is a ballot paper and all that, it opens all kind of possibilities. If Uddhav Thackeray stages a comeback in BMC elections, then that is going to create a lot of problems for this alliance. So I think while Mr. Devendra Fadnavis looks very stable and firm in his chair, things are not going to be very simple for him. He has to win. The alliance has to win that Mumbai Municipal Corporation elections in a very as a reflection of what happened during the state assembly elections.
That's going to be the big litmus test after the heavy mandate that the Mahayuti has got in the assembly elections this time. Of course, Maharashtra's trajectory under this government is going to be very closely watched, not just within India, but of course globally as well, and whether or not it can join the kind of investments that the state needs to take the shine back from what it lost to Gujarat, at least perceptibly. That's going to be an interesting piece as well. Thank you to my guests, Rasheed, Aditi, Sanjeev. Thank you for joining us tonight with your well-rounded perspectives on the subject. Pleasure having you on the show.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.